Hello, everyone. Can you hear us?
And see
Well,
us today.
yeah. Yesterday we had technical problems.
Actually, it
That
wasn't our problem. But yeah, it was. I think it was done by
was a bug. And just can you type in chat if you can hear and see us, please?
facing the same issue. Oh yeah, awesome.
Thank you, Sarah. So then we will start. We have 1 hour, and let me share my screen. So I'll introduce us. So my name is Alex. This is my partner Ivan. So we are co-founders of UAWS agency. We've been doing that for more than 13 years. Our agency was founded 13 years ago. And if you want, you can Google us. We have over 300 positive five-star reviews on Clutch, Manifesto, in many ratings. For this time period, we've been working with huge number of big brands. But at some point, around 5 years ago, we decided to focus on small and medium brands. And today we're going to share with you some of the learnings we gained through years. And if you will have questions, please ask and write them in chat, and we will answer all your questions either in the end or during the webinar. So, as I started, my name is Alex. I'm responsible for operational part, for running strategic sprints, for creative parts, while Ivan will introduce himself. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everyone, yeah. So like I mainly, so my main function is actually technical part. So I'm responsible for automations, AI, data science, tracking, all of these things. So this is how we work, and this is some kind of synergy, and it helps us to deliver good results actually to our clients. And yeah, so this is like basis of our success. So then now I think that we need to start with our presentation, right?
Yeah. I just shared my screen. Let me know
Awesome. So that, let's proceed then.
if there is some delay with messages because so yeah, so this webinar name is 3 million e-commerce system and making Google Meta and email work as one. But today we're going to share more. It's not just about making Google Meta email small, because we have some clients who are actually not a big companies. So we have some clients who are pretty small in terms of number of employees, but who spend a lot of money on ads. So some of them spend 200,000 to Meta, some million, some 10,000. There is not really a huge difference between small company and big company when it comes to marketing systems they use. It's more about scale of that system. So if you are just starting your business and you have not so many followers on social media or email subscribers, you might send maybe 4 newsletters a month, while these guys, they have huge database of email subscribers, several hundred thousand, and they segment it in a very smart way, so they can send 100 emails and even more. But the principles is all the same. It's more about just the scale of operations. Same with Facebook ad, Meta ads. The difference is usually just about creative side. So those brands who spend more on ads, who are bigger, is just about having more creatives and adding them more frequently. But there is not like huge difference, some secret knowledge. And the problem that most of our clients come to us with is like kind of, I call it stagnation problem, that they try to raise budgets and get more revenue, but at this specific point, their results drop. So they're not able really to scale. So they're not able to just raise budgets. And it's not really a problem. It's not traffic problem. It's more about not having right system. And today we're going to talk about specific systems that helps our clients scale. And just a small test for you to make just a checklist. And this might be some of the indicators that your system is broken. First is if you rely on just one or two channels, because we saw many projects, clients who were very like in danger because were relying just on Meta or Google Ads. He came to us and he was paying on Meta almost 200,000 a month, Australian dollars. and like 90% of his sales came through Facebook. But when he came to us, Facebook banned his account. So imagine he had very profitable, like big business, and overnight all gone because he was just investing in Meta, in creative production. He was shooting many cool videos, but totally neglecting SEO, email marketing. He did have some campaigns and flows, but he didn't really pay so much attention because he was just focusing on Meta. So if you rely on one channel or two channels, it's usually a sign that it's not really the best way. Second, you need to have a specific decision-making system. I'll explain how we do it in our agency, but it's very important not to make decisions based on your gut feeling, but based on specific protocol. And third one, you don't save your learnings. So when we run experiments, it's important that we take those experiments and convert them in specific rules. So imagine if you run Google Ads and you invested like $2,000 in shopping campaigns that didn't give you results, or opposite, they give you great results. You need to write down specific rules that will protect you in future. We'll also talk about that. Just ask yourself if you have these three parts. If you have like all of them, you are in very cool position, and you will still gain something today, but it's rare situation when all three are together. So yeah, and the correct question to ask yourself is not where to get more traffic, what channels to add, but do I have marketing system, and what is my marketing system? And system is very simple. It's three-step system, and the first part is about data. So everyone knows that data is super correct, but everyone has broken data and attribution.
You see here, so we have like a garbage in, garbage out principle. It's principle from data science, and actually it speaks for itself. Yeah. So if you're getting like, if you're giving a wrong input, you're getting wrong output. So recently we conducted research on Norwegian stores, for example, and we found that maybe 90% of them are not using server-side tracking correctly, and they don't have a measurement model in place. So what is meant here? So if you do not feed your marketing systems with correct conversions, some like signals, then your campaigns are not properly optimized. So let's assume, for example, that you are having like, no, if you work in European Union, yeah, you have this GDPR, you have consent mode, cookie banners, and let's say you're running two campaigns. One campaign just accidentally, it most of the customers that go through this campaign, they accept cookie banner, and data is passing back to this campaign correctly and correctly attributed. Another campaign, they just don't click, they decline consent banner, and data is not passed correctly. So you're getting wrong data, but at the same time, you're getting actually conversions from the second campaign, but it's not returned correctly to the ad platform. So you can assume that this campaign is not working properly. You're allocating budget from this campaign to another campaign, so you're making wrong decisions based on wrong data. Measurement model is one of the most important things in advertising nowadays, because nowadays all of this ITP, like intellectual tracking protection, other things, they're just cutting all of the data that are passing back to ad platforms. Also, another point is the law of small numbers. What we also are facing most of the times is our like store owners, our clients. So when you're making decisions based on small amount of data, let's say you have like 5 conversions per week or like 10 conversions per week, and you immediately decide that you need to stop this campaign. This is like a wrong behavior. You need to feed some data, you need to pass the learning phase. And also another point here, like, is point B. When you, for example, decide that like meta is not working, because you check GA4, for example, and you check it based on GA4 attribution, and you decide to stop this channel. You need to understand that nowadays, unfortunately, because of all of this GDPR and other restrictions, we are getting back to the early 2000s, where we were working using old style system, where you just have this like you need to spend 20% of your revenue on marketing. Yeah, you do not actually, you do not actually, sometimes you cannot understand what is the like impact of each campaign. Channel, but you need to understand that there is some kind of convergence where they complement each other, and you shouldn't blindly turn off campaigns channels because of your assumptions. So the tracking system should be in place, and you need to follow like the best like practices that are on the market, like it's a safe service side tracking. No, it's the main, actually the main thing now is service side tracking. It should be implemented, copy
Yeah,
on Meta.
yeah. So, sorry for interrupting you, but I can just show very simple, like one of our tools or website here, and it's not really automated because our team checks some of the points and
Yeah,
sends you
yeah,
this.
because it's impossible to automate of those things, all of those checks, and some of them are done like manually by our experts. So this is actually our side project fully dedicated to tracking, because we found that some clients, they don't need marketing like services. So you can use this website to analyze your tracking and and get this type of report as a
Yeah,
result.
it's very easy, straightforward. You see full list of your pixels. You see if it's client side or server side. And well, maybe you can answer like in simple words, what is server side tracking for people who are not familiar, because many people just don't know and don't use it. But it's
Yeah,
recommended
it's
both by
in
Facebook and
simple
Google.
words. So when user lands to your website, like client side means that your website is like running small JavaScript, and it's sending this information through the JavaScript to Meta, Google, etc. But these JavaScripts, these third-party tools, they are usually blocked by Safari, Chrome, and if your consent banner you decline to it, so this information is not passed back to system. Server-side tracking means that you grab this data and you use server methods to send this data, so they are not tracked by Chrome, Safari. They cannot block it actually, and in this case,
So this is list of all channels with client via server side tracking. Then next point is cookie health.
you want me to explain it,
Yeah,
yes?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's yeah. So again, because of like internet, like ITP is intellectual tracking protection of by iOS, all of these things that are restricting proper advertising. So let's say your client lands from Meta to your website, so your cookie lifetime could be max like 7 days. It's capped. So using service side tracking, user different methods, you can extend this lifetime. So just imagine, for example, run some campaign. User lands to your website in 7 days. Even if he revisit your website, it's like a new customer. So it's not proper attribution. It's so actually everything is broken in this case. That's why, again, as I mentioned, if you have proper attribution, proper settings, then you can remarket that user. By the way, yeah. So if you in 7 days you cannot remarket him, if the lifetime of cookies just 7 days. So you can use save cookie. You'll see all of the recommendation. Yeah. So
A very interesting point to see, like on this screen. Was like a real website. So we see TikTok, you have server-side tracking enabled, and in this case, we have 1 year. So we save data for 1 year.
you're
Wow.
not losing your customer. If you already paid for him, you need to utilize this. Yeah, you
Yeah.
already paid for this customer. You need to use your marketing. You can build like lookalike lists, etc., etc., etc. And if just in 7 days this customer disappears from your list, then I think it's useless. Yeah, you're wasting your money. So you need to think twice. You need to like do as much as possible to save your potential clients, and because it's much cheaper for you to use them afterwards.
Yeah, and in the end, you're getting specific plan, which you can, as you want to implement yourself, or like it depends. Everyone will get a bit different plan. And by the way, we have a question from Guilherme. I just want to add it here now because I feel it's relevant. We started to discuss this point. Ivan mentions that it's important to save like information about users so you can remarket them as long as possible. But also over many years, we realized that top two channels for most of successful clients that we have are actually not Meta or Google Ads. Usually, number one channel is either email or SEO, organic traffic from Google and now from AI. When it comes to AI, we are getting more and more traffic from AI, but it also depends on how like pricey is your product, because for some users still go to Google and just buy instantly. But what you notice that if you are selling expensive products, users spend more time in ChatGPT, Claude to analyze and ask some questions to make meaningful decisions. So if your products are more expensive, it means that you need to pay more and invest more in AI search visibility. It's very important, but it's important for everyone. But if your products are not cheap, it's even more important. Let's go back to this slide. Yeah, maybe I'll just add some like the common problem that we see is the attribution problem, and there are tools like Triple Whale, Hyros, and we are partners of Hyros and Triple Whale. But to be honest, they are not solving attribution problems. They are just showing you different ways to compare performance of different channels, but there is no platform that is able to solve attribution problem by 100% due to different problems,
Yeah,
including
so you shouldn't
yeah,
rely solely on one attribution model or on one. So actually, each platform tries to attribute all the conversion to itself. Yeah, so it's rule of thumb. Even if you check GA4, they say that like no, like they have this data-driven attribution model where they like have some weights and for attributions, but they also, if you check Reddit threads or based on our own experience, they credit more to Google Ads because it's their product compared to Meta, for example. So, and the same comes like when we are talking about Meta, it attributes, but you need to. So how we work in our agency, so we have like each a channel own attribution where we check the data, and also we have this blended data like using J4. Also, if we have a client who uses triple whale, we also use the triple whale as well. So we just compare different angles, and then make our own decisions. Otherwise, you can like if you rely solely on one like source, you can blindly disable very profitable channel only because it wasn't correctly attributed. Let's say just small example. For example, most of users they nowadays they come from mobile devices, right? And when they click on some ads, it could the link could be opened in the in-app browser. This in-app browser could strip UTM tagging or FBCLID or GCLID. It's like IDs of clicks on ads. Without these IDs, it's impossible to properly attribute this click to campaign by ad system. And also, usually, this traffic is attributed as direct in GA4. So you'll check J4, you see some direct traffic that brings you sales, and you think, oh, great, it's not Meta, it's not Google Ads, then I need to disable them. And then in 1 week, it appears that you just shut down the most profitable campaign. So this is why like you shouldn't solely rely on one source of truth. You need to check, compare different ones, but again, you need to have in place the like perfectly set up tracking model.
yeah, exactly. And also like tools like Triple Whale, I'm not putting them down. They're very like when it comes to data visualization, they're really amazing. And it's much more convenient to compare different attribution models in Triple Whale to get to some kind of truth. Okay, so we are moving to second principle. So principle number one is we told it it's tracking. So we must be 100% sure that it's working and you're understanding, making decisions based on real data. Second is before we are really like making any experiments in any of accounts like Klaviyo, Google Ads, Meta Ads, we make a homework and we are making list of learnings like experiments that worked well in past, because our goal is to protect those experiments that proved to work before. Because it's very common scenario when, let's say, you have a campaign on Google Ads that is performing well. So you have good results on week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and then you have consistent drop, like 2 weeks in a row, this campaign stop performing. And usually what happens, marketers tend to pause these campaigns, keywords, neglecting all past data. And this leads to a very big problem is that when you start cutting, like imagine you are having Google Ads account and you have 100 or 1000 keywords you can get traffic from that are relevant for your business. And whenever you pause some of those keywords, you are really like losing potential customers, because instead of having 1000 potential queries, you start to rely on 800. And to be in top positions for 800 is more expensive, because you can allow to spend less on each click when you have more queries. Just remember that it's always a very bad idea to pause good performing keywords that worked for you in past and was relevant. It's much better to lower click for this keyword. It's like a rule. And same applied to creatives. Yes, some creatives burn out. We will talk about, but you need really to document your learnings. If you don't have a list of learnings documented, you are like leaving money on the table. And I even included some example from one of our new clients. So we have these rules, and also later I will show you how we go through these rules. So for instance, every Monday we go through this list. Like we make sure that all conversions fire correctly. There were some duplications in this case, and we fix them. So we make sure that it's Google Ads checklist, by the way, and we have such checklists for each channel. Then we have brand search terms, which we need to protect, because many competitors bid on our client brand. So we make sure that our impression share is 90% on this specific keyword. Also, we had problems in past, and we compared all search queries where we paid more than £6 per click with all search queries where we paid less. And we noticed that sometimes Google algorithm is deciding to pay like £25 for some click. And we all trust that algorithm is smart and it's making smart decisions, but we cross-check that. And in this specific case, we realize that algorithm is making very poor decisions. So algorithm decides to bid £20, £25, £15 on keywords which don't convert. And I don't know if Google does that intentionally, because it's like, but in this case, we have this rule that we are not paying more than £6 per click, and we are checking that constantly. But this is a very big e-commerce store, and historically they have 19 brands that brought them most of sales. So we must protect those brands. What does it mean? That we take some benchmark. So historically we have brand number one that brought this number of clicks, of course relevant clicks, yeah, when we have this brand name in search term. So we protect that, and each week we make sure that we don't have drop of relevant traffic from these brands, because we have more than 50 brands in portfolio, but we protect these brands because we must receive certain amount of traffic from Google Ads from this brand. So then we have this top performing product, and this is changing from time to time because some products go out of stock. Right now, it's one of our rules to also, we have specific number here. We need to make sure that these top products receive enough traffic. Then we have tier 2 segment. This is less relevant traffic. So we have tier 1 where we limit £6. So you need to collect this type of learnings for all of your channels. And I'll explain you why in slide number 3. So we have some clients from Middle East, and what I like about this region is actually when it comes to SEO, comparing to some markets like UK or United States or Scandinavian, it's less competitive. So you can get good results from SEO much faster. Of course, each time we need to check your industry, but every time we check for Saudi Arabia, for United Arab Emirates, it's much less competitive and organic.
The last time we checked, like the competitor level
Yeah,
was quite low. Yeah.
it's very competitive, like in Germany, in United States, United Kingdom, because as I mentioned, it's number one channel long term, but most of people, they just see ads on Instagram and Facebook. Everyone says Meta, Google ads, but it's not the case. Meta and Google is amazing channel to start with, and it's good channel long term, but SEO is number one channel and email marketing for most of
Okay.
successful stores.
Like smart marketers, business owners now use AI tools. So you need to have all of these learnings and working systems in place, because you need also to feed them into these AI tools. Otherwise, you'll get generic recommendations, not based on real data, but like totally not related to your business. So what worked in the past, everything, all of this data matters. So you need to feed it to AI, and only after that you need to talk to it and analyze and plan something else. It's, by the way, this reminds me when some new agencies, for example, they conduct audits of your ad account, and they, if they never ask what was done previously, or like they're not asking for list of such things, then you should get away from this agency, because they will
Yes,
just recommend it to you to, like, uh, we are testing different approaches, tactics, like every month. So if you go to our account and you audit just current state, and you're not asking about previous actions, it's the wrong way of doing audits, because we might already tested some obvious things, but they didn't work out, and this agency could just recommend you to get back to the same ideas that we tested 3 months ago. So this is like useless. So you need always to keep track on these things.
exactly. Yeah. And to be honest, like very few like companies are really saving on learnings. But it sounds so obvious. It sounds must have. I really like. I'm surprised that very few are doing that. Like fixed first two, then we can like go through the growth system. So number one, fixed tracking. We already discussed it. Second one, it's kind of must have for any brand, for any e-commerce brand in particular, to have email flows in place. And I'm gonna share with you this file. We are not gonna like just show it on recording. This is the list of all flows that we recommend to set up for your business. So this is, for example, a welcome flow, abandon cart. Let me just go through it very quickly so you'll not spend time on it. You can see that we recommend adding at least 7 emails to the welcome flow. And we have some tactics on how to use welcome flow effectively. This is very important asset that will become more and more effective long term. Because imagine anyone who subscribed on your website will receive this email one, and you can run A/B tests for this email every month. So every month it will get better and better. Sometimes it will get worse because not all ideas work out. Actually, many tests fail. But the idea is that like your welcome flows that you set up right now will be very different from what it will become in 2 years. It will be like way better. And if you are like curious, you can go to Klaviyo benchmarks. So in this report, you can actually see the benchmark data based on open rates for different industries. So this report will give you understanding what should be your open rate from welcome flow, what should be a click rate from welcome flow, etc. So it has very good data which you can take and compare and see if your welcome flow or any other flow or campaign is healthy or not. It's a golden. I'll let me send it in this chat straight away. Yeah, I just send it, and I also send flows. Yeah, so we have the site abandoned flow, we have browse abandoned. Still, I'm not gonna talk too much about all these flows. You can check them, and then you can, if you have any questions, please ask them here in chat, or you can follow up and write us an email. So if you have your flows in place, you can like you have a good system, and you will start to collect more and more subscribers, because as I mentioned, in long term your main assets are organic and email subscribers. So you need to make sure that your pop-up on the website has good subscribe rate. Also, you can check benchmarks in this report, and you should constantly experiment to get better and better sign-up rates on your website. Then next one, It's a very important point, which for some reason also very few brands understand. We see that oftentimes brands have several people or several teams responsible for content. And this is not optimal structure because first of all, you are in risk of having not have losing consistency because one person will write in one tone, even if you have a brand book. And second point, which is even more important, you're not able to really create this synergy. And I'll explain you why now. I'll show you specific examples. So first of all, let me open this tool. This tool is called Foreplay. If you run meta campaigns, it allows you to check your competitors and see what ads they are running right now, specifically ads. You can click and see what type of content, on which platforms they run it. Also, you can see when they launched it. And this is very useful tool when we are doing competitors overview. So if we see a huge number of creatives, first of all, we can understand that this brand is getting value from Meta because they are investing a lot and they're getting return. But second, also we can understand what creatives are working better, what concepts work better. Also, you can filter and see what are the longest running creatives they see in their they use in their Meta account. And what you see, this is example, it's a very big brand, seed.com. But if you will check their creatives, usually it's just three type of creatives that works best for them. It's just when they ask about some gastro health generic problems, like do you have problems with your gut? But also actually the biggest creatives in terms of ad spend was, let me find it, bloating. Yeah, this is huge. And yeah, pooping every day. This was actually like, if you scroll down and down, you will see that so many creatives are related to this concept. What is interesting? Let's go through the tool. It's called Ahrefs. This tool allows you to check your own data when it comes to organic, but also you can check all websites you want. So in this case, I checked seed.com. You can see how much traffic they're getting from AI, from different platforms like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, from Google. And you can also see what type of keywords they're getting traffic from. And in this case, if you will check the report and you will compare this report with what we see in Foreplay, you can see that many topics are the same. So of course they have like seed as a brand traffic in top, but for example, they have this keyword poop chart, which they rank for and which is very important for them because so the idea is when they create content about this topic, they create a landing page on their website, they create several ads, and also they run email campaigns. So one person can write all texts for all three, just sitting like in 1 hour. And you don't need like 5 teams doing that at the same time. So for each topic, you need to think, can I cover this topic in your email campaigns, in Meta, maybe in Google Ads? And I'll later show you very cool tools that we use to compare Google Ads and organic, because if you're getting good traffic from organic for some keywords, it doesn't make sense sometimes to spend money on those keywords in Google Ads as well. So this is also part of the synergy to save you money. So I'm gonna also send you, I'll send a recording and I'll send you link to this tool. We are not promoting this tool. We are using a lot of tools, but we just like this one. We are not affiliates or something.
Yeah, we're just sharing a concept, yeah, of how to analyze and how to how the content could be aligned. So
Yeah,
it's not so departments are not interfering with each other. It's they complement each other. So and this is very important.
yeah, sweet. So, and I also encourage you to check this tool because there was a question about Middle East keywords, and there is a keyword difficulty score. And what I see very often for Middle East is that this score is like easy. In this case, it's hard to rank for this keyword poop chart. It's like it's competitive market. It's United States in this case, but immediately you will see that so many keywords are in this. So score is like 2, 3, and it's still you need to put some effort to rank for these keywords, but you don't need to invest like $10,000 in backlinks, like in this case. Because in this case, if you want to rank, no matter how great content you will create related to poop chart, you will have to buy PR backlinks. I'm talking about high quality PR backlinks, which are pretty expensive. Okay. Okay, we have one question about Meta. 1 second. Let me just put it here. How often should I upload new creatives to Meta ads? This depends on your budget. But usually if you're just starting, it's a matter of like having 4, 8 new creatives a month. So it's not huge. But there is no rule that you should upload 20 or 200 creatives on Meta. Okay, outside, there is another question. Outside of welcome flow, which ones are the most important to have? Of course, let me go back to flows. It's all these flows that are related to abandoned cart, abandoned checkout, browse abandoned, because you can imagine like remarketing campaigns that you run on Facebook, you're running them also on email marketing. So imagine someone went to your website, added to cart, and then for some reason bounced from the website. He will get an email from you, a link to specific products that he checked on the website, and remind him to buy. You can also add some promo code. Sometimes it's relevant, sometimes it's not. But these flows are really, it's fundamental. Even if you are using Shopify, for example, they even create some flow automatically for you. Those are very basic low quality flows, so we don't recommend using them and just switch to OmniSend to Klaviyo instantly. But they, as I recall, they have welcome flow and also some abandoned cart. So they have these flows as a must-have already. All other flows like post-purchase, win-back flow, you will do it later, but initially start with welcome flow and these 3 flows. It's must-have. Okay. Yeah, so we covered point number 3. Then interesting point. Of course, AI is a hot topic right now, but I'll talk about how we approach AI. So we also we are very like nerdy, so we have a lot of our own tools, and we don't create these tools to just to
Just for
create,
hype. Yeah, just for hype. Yeah, like because
but
there are a lot
we
of
should.
AI rappers, like rappers on the market. They just like use, no, they could be done like in 20 minutes, like without any effort. So actually, we all of the tools that we are working on, like our proprietary tools, again, they're based on our demand, real demand. And if we create something, then we immediately start implementing it in our workflows. So we now switch to AI first, like approach agency. So yeah, Alexei can elaborate more on. So I can talk about more about technical part, but actually practical part, yeah, Alexei can elaborate more on it.
Yeah. So imagine you are using ChatGPT or Claude. We are using Claude right now. And imagine what we did. So we created a connector that connects to all your data sources, to Klaviyo for email marketing, to Shopify, to Google Ads, to Meta Ads, to Google Search Console, to GA4. So we are able to connect to all of these channels. And do you remember the slide about learnings? So AI helps us to protect these learnings because we are able to analyze big number of data. Like previously, human couldn't do it. Like it was just like impossible to do it
Yeah,
manually.
it took you weeks to analyze such like data sets, and now you with help of AI, you can do it like in minutes.
Yeah. So this allows us to pull all data, all learnings from all channels to one platform, to Claude, and work with this data. And for example, I don't I have it right now on my screen here, but still I have like sensitive data from our clients, which I cannot share. Imagine you have Meta Ads account where you spend €50,000, and you connected it to Claude with this tool or other tools. But our tools, we didn't find anything like that in the market yet. There are some MCPs, but they're not given full data. For example, from Google Ads, you're not able to get some part of the information. You're not able to get search queries. You're not able to get many useful reports. Instantly, system will tell you what creatives work best for you, and also it will deconstruct those creatives, so you will understand why they worked better for you. And then it can compare it with results from your search console. As we talked, like foreplay, for example, you have this content about poop, and it will give you feedback and explain why this content is not ranking yet, for example, in Google search, based on this Facebook data. So this is where synergy happening, because you take data from Facebook and you use this data to improve your Klaviyo, and you use your organic data to improve your Meta ads or Google ads. So it's so powerful, it's like really mind blowing, and it exceeded our expectations.
Actually, here's a question in the chat. So, AI tools for e-commerce. Actually, the best AI tools are like Claude, ChatGPT. So, but you need to feed these tools with proper data. This is why we created our own tool, because and it's still in a beta, because we are like I'm like improving it on a daily basis, fixing bugs and the daily basis, because publicly available like MCPs, it's like model context protocols where you can get this data directly from platforms. They don't support, like they're all mostly like overview level tools. So for example, give me campaign like ad spend for this campaign, clicks for this campaign for the last 7 days. This is only the data they can you provide you with. But we are using it like give us search queries, give us products that were shown in PMAX or on in shopping campaign. We are utilizing and combining this data with meta data. So we are using all of the data sources, combine them together in one bucket, mix it, and then are getting back a proper result. So for now, like you can use whichever AI tool you prefer, but you just need to feed it with data. You can search for different tools available in the market. Our tool is also available, but it's still in beta, as I mentioned.
But we are just illustrating you the principles that is very important to follow. This company got they estimated like 20 billion or something. So
60 billion, I think, even more. Yeah.
yeah, so it's mind blowing how cool they are. Like if you will compare Claude with GPT 6 months ago, it was like, oh, I don't know what is better. But now there is no question. Like GPT sucks compared to Claude. I don't know if it's like it might change in 1 month. But you, even if you're curious, they just release this tool called Claude Design, and we already tested it a lot. And you can
Actually,
just try.
webinar, this webinar deck is made in code design.
Yeah, and
Yes.
I made it like very fast. It's very cool tool, and I just tried same prompt in Nana Banana, Gemini, and Claude Design, and Claude Design gave me way better output. So Claude also, there are tools like Manus that allow you to run like agents and stuff like, but
Yeah, but all of
Claude.
those should be used in smart way, because we also face this like situation when clients just send us like 10-page response from AI, and we actually take this 10 pages and then also send it to AI, and it like back and forth AI conversation. So it's not usable. Yeah, you need to understand what you are sending, what you are talking about. AI audits, as we mentioned, without data, it's no. Actually, I'll be fair. I know that they have quite good like evaluations, actually exposed by themselves. So I don't know if we can trust them. So they recently just launched a new model, and they like it's like they stated it almost at the same level as Claude and like ChatGPT. But I never tried it. They're competing for the market, and most of them are doing the same things. So it depends on your like goals. We found that Claude, in terms of analyzing data and producing like I know it's like more data science, machine learning stuff, and so on. It gives you better responses compared to ChatGPT, for example. But I use Codex personally for coding. But actually, I use both Codex, Claude, and Gemini. So they like audit each other, talk to each other, and then I like as a human, I compare the results and make the decision. So we in our agency we use all of those things because we want to be at the cutting edge of technologies.
And last point is about running sprints. So you need to have, as a part of your system, like consistent protocol where you analyze your data. So when you go through these steps, and we have specific protocol that we follow on a weekly basis for each project, and we use a lot of machine learnings. We use lots of like statistics, and we use lots of like prompts that we developed in order to make right decisions. Because what actually will help you to win, the most important point is ability to make smart decisions. And if you can use AI to help you making these decisions in a smart way, you will win. And if you have product, you need to be consistent with that. And we have this protocol as a part of protocol for each client.
Yeah, actually, you can find this methodology. It's called agile marketing approach. So sprints, like always, yeah. So you check your hypotheses, apply them, suggest new hypotheses. So it's continuous process. You shouldn't think that it's like a stable thing and it's like you can, for example, scale the budget and you'll get the proportional results, yeah, based on the scaling. It's impossible in advertising. And also you need to understand that even if you, for example, get some contractor or somebody like a new marketer in your team and he tells you, hey, I got these results 3 months ago, now it could be quite different situation. Auction changes, algorithm changes all the time, and because of these AI tools, actually now developers of those systems, they roll out new updates like every 2 3 weeks actually. So and it could be significantly different compared to like the situation that was like 2 months ago. So you should continuously check what's going on the market and adapt to it. So it's like a continuous fight. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we have just a few minutes left. I see one question. It's about biggest mistake you see in Google Ads. It's a good question because, like, of course, biggest mistake is always tracking, because it's in so many accounts you see duplicated conversions. But if you like, because we already covered tracking, so let's not talk about that. Also, I covered very important mistake. It's about shutting down important relevant keywords instead of decreasing bids for them. It's very big mistake which we see constantly. But you already covered this mistake as well. What we see is like people starting using PMAX campaigns without historical conversion data. This is
No,
pretty big.
so what from my experience, what we like faced recently again, that lots of like our clients, I think that they rely a lot on outdated information. So recently, for example, we faced a situation when some of clients in Google Ads, he tried to implement SCAG structure, single keyword ad group structure. So he just Googled what's the best structure. He didn't check the dates. And so this is like, I'm repeating myself. Yeah. But again, you need to adapt to new trends. For as a like small yeah, example, recently we also tried to substitute AI based campaign like on Google. We try to do the best, control search terms, etc., launch new campaigns, and it ended up that it performed worse than AI-based campaign, actually. So you need to combine A/B test, different approaches. So for me, yes, this is one of the biggest mistakes, just to rely solely on some secret sources from the internet.
I think we're almost out of time. Please feel free to get back to us. If you're gonna be in Lisbon in July, we are hosting a workshop there. So I'll be happy to meet you in person. And also, we are making like paid audits. So if you want us to check specific area of your business, like Google Ads or Meta Ads, just let us know. And also, we have a closed community where you can stay with us and have like a chat where we share most recent learnings and answer your questions. And it's very cheap. It costs $99 per month as to be a part of that community. So I think we are good. If we have any, yeah, I have one. I see one question. Let's answer this question. 1 second. Do I need to make campaigns on different platforms altogether? Usually, depending on business, let's start. Let's say that you are just starting. It doesn't make sense for you to start campaigns on all platforms if you don't have good conversion rate, because you'll just waste money. If you have solid conversion rate, even in this case, you should add platforms by one. So, for example, you added Meta, you see good numbers, you get good ROAS, it's profitable, then you can add Google Ads. But we talked previously about Klaviyo or omniscient email marketing, so it's must have. You should do it instantly. It doesn't interfere with any channel. It actually complements any channel. So it's like an example which creates this channel creates a synergy. Also, when it comes to organic, it's a long-term game. So you will not see immediate results. Usually results come like after 6 years, 6 years, after 6 months, after 1 year, but don't expect to get results in 1 month. So if you need immediate results, usually it's Meta or Google Ads, but in long term, these channels become less and less important for your business. Okay, I think
Okay, guys, thank you for attending this webinar. Hope it somehow helped you and you got some insights. Yes, maybe, yeah. So, yeah, have a nice weekend ahead.
it's Friday this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.